Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do is kind of set the timing of the scene. What the time is gonna be, when is the missile gonna hit the car, and stuff. So uh, this is gonna be a short scene. So I know I'm gonna render just 120. So maybe even let's start with 70 frames at 24 frames a second, which is most common for film. So it said that I got this shot from the visual effects director and says like, or supervisor, and says, okay, here's your plate. Just make a car explode there. It's gonna a missile's gonna hit it, and it's gonna be the floor's gonna be cracked open, and you're gonna have uh, flames coming from the ground. It's gonna be a huge explosion. All right, so what do I get except from the backplate? I think the modeling guys have the car. All right, well, I got the car. And what about the missile? Well, no. The missile, yeah, nobody did the missile. Can you just model something really fast? And like, yeah, I could do it. And it happens. And it's not that hard to do. And sometimes when you get shots or you are doing your own shots, you do a lot of stuff. So you need to know this kind of stuff because that's what I mean. Like, what are you gonna do in a job? Like, can you model a missile really fast? No, I can do it. Well, watch out, dude, because your job might be in danger right there. So yeah, you have to do a lot of stuff. Like, not even modeling. Like, can you just make a really short script to automate something? Yeah, I can write it in Python pretty quick. So get tools for you. So I'm gonna model this missile really quick, and it's gonna be a very low res missile. And the reason why is because I know how this is gonna be rendered. And what do I know? Because I've done renderings, and I know this is gonna have a lot of motion blur. And the motion blur is just gonna, this missile is gonna be moving fast. So it's just gonna be like a streak. It's not gonna be like you're not gonna even kind of see this. It's gonna be like 5 or 6 frames in frame, and then it's gonna disappear. So just you have to know that, because if you model like a hugely detailed missile, and it's not gonna be even used, dude. What would you even model it like that high detail, or you know? So I'm gonna start with a simple tube, which is of course a good base for a missile. And I'm gonna say that I made some research, and I know that average side missile could be around 1.5 meters. So that's what I'm gonna use as my height reference, and zero point 0.1 as the thickness of it. I'm gonna add more detail on this sides, like 16, and that's gonna be uh, the start point of my missile. I'm gonna add end caps, so this is the end caps are just those. And just check, sometimes these end caps are fused, sometimes like this case is they are not fused, so just fuse those points there. I like to have my geometry really clean. Alright, so I'm just gonna model it really quick. We're not gonna be spending too much time on this guy. Just gonna say I'm gonna add a loop here. I'm gonna start doing the front of it, and add another loop here to add the exhaust part of it. And I'm just gonna model this like so. Scale this, make the tip of it And again, don't stress it. This is not even gonna be seen. It's gonna be like so quick on the scene. Let's just snap to middle edge. Alright, this is another loop here. So we're not gonna model like a super detail thing like I've already been saying and saying. Let's just see it for and extrude this. So there we go. That's the missile. Oh, extruded a face that I didn't want it. So actually, I'm gonna show you the power of Houdini. Redo, redo, redo. And I'm like, oh, I didn't want to extrude this one. Well, by the magic of Houdini, I can go back to the poly extrude and I have two faces selected on that, so I can just go and say, okay, this face is 97 right now, but here it's alright. Seems like it's 97 too. But I can just press the tilde key and reselect what I want to extrude. Press enter, and there we go. Oh, I wasn't in the poly extrude. Alright, so here is 0 and 65. So I only want to extrude 0. So let's just remove that. Or again, you can just add 69 again and set remove this guy. Enter. Huh, it's not working. It's weird. Maybe because I have this edit at the end. But I can just remove this one and it works. And my edit still works. No, because the changes the number of faces changed. So there we go. Need to tweak two parameters and we have my modeling back there. Alright, so I'm gonna select this face here, flat shaded. Alright, it's not showing me the selection. Gonna select that. I'm gonna select that face and just extrude that again, just to make this press Q to repeat, make it smaller, just to have like the basic topology of this. And now add a few divisions because I like to have like a geometry making sense, not that big over polygons, and maybe a few loops here if just in case I decide to subdivide this later. It's just very easy to just do that. Alright, here few and one of the tip, just to check if I do decide to subdivide it. This is how it would look, which is good enough. It's really cool. It's good enough for a missile that is barely gonna be seen. So the only other thing I'm gonna do to this is just add a little bit of those aerodynamic fins. I'm not sure if they are called fins, but let's add a box, make it small, just in case we see this. Just change that and change to flat wire sheeted again, maybe even get a line. Yeah, alright, I put it here just to make this not so not that bad of a model. Just add the main detail to it. and X2. I think these guys go like this. Make it more dynamic, kind of like that. Oh, I don't like the these are too short. Make it 10 bigger. There we go. Now I'm just gonna copy this, guys. Copy. Make 3 copies. Rotate him by 90 degrees. Actually need 4 copies. There we go. And then just make a transform to make more of these guys. Another duplicates. Just make sure you're grabbing the right one and make them a little bit smaller. The ones on the front are usually smaller, and just merge these 2 parts, and there we go. Merge the main body, and there we go. That's our missile. That's gonna be the missile that we're gonna use. That's good enough for government work. Just create an all out missile model. Alright, so now we're gonna just move this missile, which is gonna be really simple stuff. Right now it's just in the middle of the world. Let's go to the camera. We want the missile to come from this side of the screen and crash, I think, here in the middle. The car's gonna come here, so it's gonna crash, yeah, actually around the middle. So we have this line here. So what I'm gonna do here is not gonna just move it. I'm gonna create a curve actually to move it. So let's create a curve. Let's just add some points here. Those points are really weird. Let's go to the front view. There we go. Alright, so I need 1 point here in the center. The other one's kind of like this. Let's go to the camera, and now that is what I got. Now I'm gonna tweak it. I have 1 point that is pretty weirdo, so let's just tweak that guy. Look from the top, just move it to the center. And there you can actually use point snapping to snap those things to the point, to the that's not point snap, that grid snapping. Snap it to the grid. And let's go to the side view, or the front view in this case. And I'm gonna not make this totally linear. I'm gonna give it a little bit of curve at the end. I'm gonna change this to a nerves curve also. This is gonna be kind of linear and kind of make it rise a little bit. My reasoning for this is just that maybe as it comes to the ground, it kind of finds a little bit of resistance, just a little bit. So it's kind of just comes like this and lifts off a little bit because of the air and stuff. It might lift a little bit, so I like that instead of just making it super straight. Instead of just coming like this, just have a little bit of a curve there. So you can see it's not much, but it's a difference, a little bit of a detail there. And I'm also not gonna have it like be totally straight in this direction. I'm gonna have it like a little bit more on this side, coming from here. Like it's, if we go back to the, just make these points, move these points a little bit. If we go to the top view, you can see I'm moving them to this side. And my reasoning there is that maybe somebody on one of these buildings actually shot this from the top or something, or it's coming from this side of the plane, or plane you was just flying above here and hit it, but just get it off axis a little bit so it's not like super uh, linear or stuff. So just to animate this guy, I'm gonna put use this curve as the pad object here. You can just drag it here by having this selected and dragging this there, or just click here and select it. Alright, so you can see if I move this position, now it's gonna animate along the pad, but if you see if I move it, it keeps repeating. So just from 0 to 1 is the distance, and since we did the curve this way, 0 is actually here and 1 is here, so it's okay. You can reverse the curve or just animate this as you need. In this case, let's put this at 1. You can see it's not as far as I might want, so let me just go to the curve again and get it a little bit more off frame. Just stretch this a little bit more. There we go. Let's go back to camera, and you can see now at 1 is off frame. Just never have objects like just in the very edge of your frame because of motion blur. Alright, so to move this thing, it's not in the right direction, this missile, it's rolling in the other direction. So what can we do? Well, we can use this up vector, or just move the camera, move the object, but I can just maybe use this up vector too, and there we go. It's not in the right direction, so oh yeah, it's in the right direction, but you might need to roll it now. Yeah, so if you want this, you can try to fiddle with this and say, alright, is it working? What I do is I just rotate this, move it like this direction 90 degrees, and that it's gonna be pointed along the path now. So there you go, it's moving. So to animate this, I'm gonna be thinking, alright, so if I make this hit really quick, the viewer is not gonna be able to see what happened. It's gonna take like just cut to this scene and boom. That's not like that's like a good thing. So you need the viewer to give the viewer a few frames to see it, not like a whole second or something like that, but give the viewer a few seconds, a few frames to grasp what's happening, and then hit it with the. So I'm gonna say that this is gonna hit at frame 15 or frame 16. This is gonna be where this missile hits the car there. So I'm gonna animate this position. I'm gonna add a keyframe there to 0, and how I'm doing that keyframe is just pressing Alt and clicking here. So I add a keyframe, or just left click on this and then go to here, set keyframe, Alt left click. There is the shortcut key. So there you have that. And now let's go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 frames. Let's see how 7 frames feel, and put this back to 1. And let's say I'm gonna play this, and that speed seems okay for a missile. Yeah, I think that works. But I'm not actually in real time. So yeah, I like that. It's good enough. Yep, I like it. It's fast and it's noticeable. We have like stays like 1, 2, 3, 4, like at least 4 or 5 frames. All right, cool. So maybe before this scene we already saw like the people, like the guy shooting this from a rocket launcher, or a jet or an airplane just shooting these before, so we know it's coming. So we just switch to this scene and then we just see that it's, oh, there it is. That's the intention here. So alright, that's it for this. I'm just gonna hide the curve because we don't want to render that. The last thing I'm gonna do is just to finish setting up this missile. After frame 16, I don't want to see the missile, so just gonna add a null here and a switch. I like using nulls and switches to hide stuff, because this just returns me no geometry and the renderer is happy. So at frame 16, am I gonna see it at frame 16? Frame 16 is the final frame, and 17 I'm not gonna see it. So in the switch, I'm gonna switch to 0 at this frame and the previous frame to 1, so I'm seeing it. And then we just go to no that construction plan, just reset that. There we go. So it just goes away. It's not there in the scene anymore. So that's it. We're gonna save this as version 2. Save that. Alright, so let's go to the next chapter.